In this video, I'm going to take you through my 4 exam day predictions for your upcoming ACCA SBL exam for the September 2024 sitting. My name is James, welcome to my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any free videos. And if you'd like access to my exclusive SBL notes you can see on screen, I'll be going through these in the video. Just click the link down below and you can have a copy on your computer screen and you can add your own notes to it as well. Going through these predictions to put them into practice, if they were to come up, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. I would recommend that you actually attempt some mock papers 2-time, and I'm delighted to say I'm affiliated with Astranti. If you click the link down below, you can access one of their free syllabus packs and also mock papers, and they have a few other packages. Again, they're all going to help you to pass your exam, and for pure transparency on the channel as always, if you were to purchase any through the links down below, I'd be entitled to a small commission, which all goes to supporting the YouTube channel. As you can see, we are run on a major budget here with my PDF notes. But let me take you through, and obviously a caveat before we get going. I don't know anyone from the SBL team. If anyone from ACCA is watching this, I'm literally going on the basis of I've been through the notes. Aren't my notes lovely on here? They did take a long time. But it's a case of, let's just put it into perspective. I'm just going on, if I was in your position, what would I be thinking? And my exam tip day prediction, you can even tell in my voice when I'm saying it, is number 1, theories, PESTEL and SWOT analysis on there. So PESTEL, I'm sure you already know from your tuition, but just to reflect, you can see it above me, political factors, economic, social, technological, environmental and legal. And for the SWOT analysis, the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Now, in the exam, it is very, 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 very unlikely they're going to say, oh, James, please do a PESTEL analysis. Oh, James, please do a SWOT analysis. But they may refer to those words specifically, and you've got to put the pieces of the jigsaw together to say, I can see that social factor and economic factor. They're nudging me to do that analysis. And as you go through, and if you look through at my debrief notes and videos of going through the full pre-C materials, there are a lot of areas. I mean, let's just take PESTEL, for example, on here. You can even see on the screen to the left-hand side, PESTEL, technology factor, attracting new drivers and customers. If we come down here to the risk register, we've got economic factors to do with the risk of competition and it being a thriving market on there. We also have PESTEL factors from a social and legal point of view about the safety and illegal and negligent activities that have gone on within the industry on there as well. Further down there, again, we've got more legal issues and economic factors about the actual licensing and industry regulations. Basically, all in all, there are, for each letter of PESTEL, items within the preceding information, especially environmental, with the different stakeholder groups, the government's being involved. They want more cars off the road. However, Baygo obviously is a taxi-based business model on there. Lots to talk about from a PESTEL perspective, along with introducing the likes of electric cars, hybrid cars, and alternatives for fossil fuels. SWOT analysis, on the other hand, I would say if that was to come up, it would be more sort of like the Baygo industry and company itself. So Baygo, the company operating in Bealand, they are well established, operate in 250 cities, second largest firm. They sound like they've got really good actual allegiances with the local authorities. But then you get onto the weaknesses about competitors coming in, taking of market share. Opportunities wise, loyalty schemes could potentially become the new market leader and overtake Zenby on there, international expansion. But there are a few threats to caveat that, as we may have more multinational companies getting into the market, technological advances and smaller firms taking market share. So much to talk about on there, along with it could be linked into the revenue streams, but go through the full notes because my tip number 1 is the PESTEL theory, SWOT analysis theory on there, that I'd be thinking I've really got to understand all the different areas that could come up and apply it to the scenario, those 2 theories. That is tip number 1 on there for my exam day prediction, through obviously my crystal ball. Area number 2 for my prediction now. Something going wrong with the drivers. Okay, something going wrong with the drivers. Let me just kick this off. Okay, so the first thing is actually about the sort of ethical side of this, and I'll come down to the bottom because just to sort of set the scene, maybe this is your first thing you've ever watched on the pre-seed materials. The driver satisfaction you can see on the bottom table there has been decreasing for the last 5 years, and it's down at 60%. Well, what is it now? 63% sort of satisfied. It's still over 60%. However, it's dropped from about 72 to 63. So the drivers are less satisfied. We then come up to the sort of commitment, and here it is on there where I'm going to put my mouse. So at the end of each ride, the drivers and customers actually have to say, well, what do you rate my ride on there? And if it's actually below 80% satisfied, they should be prompted to provide more details. The drivers have been below 80% for the last 5 years. So what has happened with these details as to, hang on a second, well, what are the other factors that maybe have been sort of swept under the rug here? Is that going to bring up some other areas on the actual exam day on there that could link into it? So again, another factor to be aware of. In terms of where else it links into, look at the values box and how it says here, and it overlaps with the ACCA code of conduct there, or the ethics. So they say, our ethical code of conduct ensures we maintain our focus on operating to the highest ethical and professional standards on there, and that's safety for our customers, drivers and communities that we work within. I'm there going, I've read through this countless times. I've still not seen their ethical code of conduct. Where is this on there? So again, it's a case of something that could come up on the exam day, that code of conduct on there, and it could link into it. I mean, it overlaps to the drivers. Maybe there are unethical behaviours and something you need to be aware of. So that is my area for number 2, with a couple of other bits you can just see on the left-hand side there. Worth noting about the sort of concerns of the drivers and their safety, along with the customers, of course, that illegal activity. And there are bits above where they've actually linked it to the drivers on there utilising the technology. So there could be an issue with the actual driver's app as well. There's quite a lot for the poor drivers on there, along with some potential trade union issues, where it comes down here for the driver satisfaction is one of the KPIs, and they've mentioned it a couple of times as they go through. It was up here in the staff information as well, that they've highlighted, here we go, on the right hand side, the drivers are not recognised as employees by BAGO. So they are actual contractors on there. They don't benefit from, say, annual leave or sick pay. And it was a case in the UK with Uber that they actually lost, that some of their drivers were deemed to be employed. So again, lots that could come up. And they also have in the actual pre-seed notes, they talk about drivers' trade unions and small groups within the actual drivers as well, to actually say to them, right, let's protect the drivers. Could be an issue on there. So hence that is my prediction number 2 in terms of the drivers. Lots of things, and again, could go particularly wrong because they are fundamental to running BAGO's business model on there. Now, tip or prediction number 3, ladies and gentlemen, on here, and that is regulation, or in other words, what I like to call it, something going wrong. Please don't expect on your exam day everything to be sunshine and rainbows and fantastic and let's pass everyone sort of thing on there. 50% of students will fail the exam and 50%, give or take, will pass it. And one of the areas that I just think has so much legs in this set of pre-seed notes are the regulations and just things that could go wrong at this organisation in BAGO, even though it comes across that it's pretty good on there. So the first thing is, in that regulation paragraph, I've even note this down. There are currently no overall standards to which all TNCs in Bealand, that includes BAGO, should adhere to. So they don't have any standards in regulatory place of operational requirements, how the business goes about itself, technology, data security, driver status on there. Again, we touched on that in the previous point, or environmental impact. And you can see from my notes, PESTEL overlaps with a variety of different areas and risks. And it goes on to the bit at the bottom there that in some countries, drivers have set up their own trade unions and driver networks associations. Not in Bealand, though, at the moment, but possibly as well. So all these sort of things, you're going to yourself, right, we've got apps, we've got technology. Again, you can bring it up here. There are two, this is the other key thing, there are two sets of the app. So you've got the driver's app and you've got the customer's app on there. What if the information, actually we can come down to the other parts on here now, what if the information of the app got out into the public domain or into the wrong hands on there? And you've got on the left hand side now with the risk register, you've got GPS software, so the app knows your location, say for your home or your office. It also has on there your address, your emails, your credit card details. There's so many things that you go, what if that happened? And if there was a breach of systems that went down, they could be in real trouble on there. The other little thing in terms of that could overlap with is for their cloud-based system, it actually is provided by a third-party provider on there. So again, it's something for Baygo to consider, but link it back to in your answers that if these bad things did happen, look where we've got at the bottom of the paragraph. I'll just put my mouse on it on here. We go with Baygo. So if anything that disrupts the way the business operates or is an impact on trust, refer back to that specific quote and say, hang on a second, this does not actually agree with it. We touched on earlier briefly about things that could go wrong, and there are more areas, like you've got safety on the side here. You've got a massive paragraph about continuous checks. Partnered with, they've got cameras in the cars now. How effective are these? You've got legal factors, privacy, commitments to the environment on there. Again, there were lawsuits involved, that it's actually happened within other countries around the world for this type of business model. I'll just bring it up here. So you can see on the right hand side now where my mouse is. So they've got safety issues have been a major challenge for the TNC industry. And that is where illegal activities by customers and drivers on there. And this has resulted in TNCs to several high profile lawsuits. So you've got to say to yourself, what if Baygo had a massive lawsuit against them, the second largest organisation in Bealand on there? That is going to have a massive impact, and the barriers to entry for other competitors within the actual Bealand market on there. You can see here on the market share. Look where my mouse is now on the left hand side. That other column is just sneaking up on there, and it is just going out there to say that Zenby, the market leader, is going down, and if something happened to Baygo, these are the sort of different factors that you've just got to be running through your head. Things aren't going to all go to plan, and I think something to do with regulation, something going wrong, tech or data-wise, or it could lead to a social media leakage or a newspaper article. Those are just some of the areas that you'll see if you go through my notes on here. So that is tip number 3. Regulation, something going wrong on there. Tip number 4, and this is why I brought it up to Bealand on here, is the Bealand market itself. So my prediction on here is, first of all, the actual loss of the local license. This is where it's going to show up a student, shall I say, on there, who comes to the exam who has understood all of the key criteria of the pre-C materials. Now I'm just going to put my mouse here on the right hand side where you can see it as well. So this is where lots of businesses have been attracted to Bealand on there. They've got lots of information about how it's been growing over the years. We've got Baygo on here operates in 250 actual cities, but the key bit here is, I've even put down key detail point here. Currently, the local authority of each city, so of those 250 cities, there's an individual local authority, sets its own criteria for allowing operating licenses to the TNCs and their drivers. So that is Baygo on there, that is Zenby, and it could be the reason why Zenby's been dropping down in market share, and as a result why Baygo's been actually increasing. But it's a major risk that if they were to lose those license, and I mean this from Baygo's perspective, it would have a massive impact on their revenue streams and the supply of drivers. The next part in terms of the Bealand market, I briefly touched on it before, but the examiner loves it when you use specific figures. So Zenbi and Bago currently have 85% of the market share, but the 15% remaining, that little dark bar that you can see where my mouse is on the left-hand side for 2003, has been just steadily growing year on year. And there are just different factors that you say it could just take one little blip to actually bring in an international competitor, or they may get merged with. The user groups in Bealand is only on a positive trajectory, could potentially be saturated and tailing off. We'll find out if that gets brought up on the exam day, but it's just something to be aware of, that there is new competition. Bago itself, you can see from my percentages, the service customer rentals, Bago have no revenue from that at all. So it's going to be going to the competitors or to Zenbi. And the business services, they've only just tapped into that in the last 2 years, but it only equates to 5% of their overall revenue. And lastly, in terms of Bealand itself, where you've just got to be on the ball that they could throw in anything like this on the exam day, is the actual industry is based on the likes of Uber on there, or Grab if you're from Asia and you've been, or maybe you've travelled there. And then Uber diversified into Uber Eats. So you've got food delivery, driverless, electric vehicles. These are the latest developments that, again, they love to throw things into the exam that are actually topical at the moment, and the environment, electric cars, hybrid cars, diversifying revenue streams should be top of your priority list, as that is when they can also throw in some other theories and points associated with it. So just to touch on top of the screen there, you've got two other theories that could be thrown in. Porter's 5 forces, again, quite commonly tested, and you've got the micro mobility sector of the revenue stream, which I think has actually got a lot of prosperity about it, but they acquired another company on there. That is one of the competitive rivalry acquisitions as part of the actual theory itself. And the Bago staff that you can see on the top right now, and again with the senior leadership structure, I'm there going, they've not really given us much in terms of to go on that. And you've got Porter's value chain, which is all about looking at the inputs and outputs of the different functions of a business. So you go to yourself, could they throw that in on the exam day? But that's my little overview for Porter's 5 forces for you to be aware of. Threat of new entrants, threat of substitutions, and also competitive rivalry are the 3 main parts of the 5 forces we've been given in the pre-seed notes, with the sort of buyer power, supplier power we may or you could get on the exam day itself. Not forgetting the other theories I've just touched on in terms of Porter's value chain, but there's also Porter's diamond analysis and Ansoff's matrix about new products and new markets. Again, could be easily tested. If you have a look through my notes and look through the other videos on the channel, that could pay dividends for you to get you on top of it. And if you do a mock paper with a few of these SWOT analysis and Porter's 5 forces questions, if it comes up on the exam day, you'll know what to do. You'll make some mistakes in the mock and you'll get it right on the exam day on there. But that, ladies and gentlemen, takes you through my 4 exam day predictions. And of course, as I said at the start, this is just my opinion on there. I've just been going through the pre-seed information like you can. And if you'd like access to it, just click the link in the description below. Check out those Astranti links. They are definitely going to help you to pass. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. More than happy to help. And I've left a couple of videos up at the top, so make sure you subscribe not to miss out on any others. And I'll see you on the other side now for another ACCA SBL video. So thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.